Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dagmar Pesta, and I want to tell you something about the original music of bagpipes, the pibroch. I want to tell you what is pibroch and something about the history of pibroch, then the categories of pibroch, different types of Kronwurf, how to play pibroch, and an example, Sir James MacDonald of the Isles Lament, the story and the structure, and you can hear the tune in my PowerPoint presentation. What is pibroch? Pibroch is the classical music of bagpipes. Pibroch also calls Kilmore, what means the big music. The translation of pibroch is bagpipe playing. Pibroch is the music, what the person plays. Piobair is the person who plays that music. Pibroch is being played in pentatonic scales. There are 3 pentatonic scales on the bagpipes: pentatonic scale in G, pentatonic scale in A, and pentatonic scale in D. The pipe music is divided in 2 types of music. Keolbeek, what means light music or small music. This is music for military parades and entertainment, and for dancing and so on, which existed long before Kilmore, the great music or big music. This is a pibroch. Pibroch was developed in the 16th century by the MacCrimmon family on the Isle of Skye. First, to bring the sound of bagpipes to perfection, and furthermore to tell stories and bring up emotions. Pibroch wasn't denotated at the time. It was told from one to another with the singing syllable language, the cantracht. Pibroch starts with the theme. You can also call it ground, or in Gaelic urla. After then, the theme notes or the ground are played in several variations which become slightly faster and more complexly. The conclusion is one line of the slow and expressive ground. A lot of tunes were lost because of the Highland clearance at the end of the 18th century. Pibroch is categorized according to different categories. First, according to the interpretation. You can interpret it as a march. Then you have to play it with purpose and monumentum. You can interpret it as a gathering. Then you have played rousing with uplifting tempo. Interpret it as a salute. You have to play it majestically, slightly quicker than a lament. And last, you can interpret it like a lament. You have to play it slowly with emotions. You can categorize pibroch according to the phrase construction. There are 7 phrase construction possibilities in pibroch. First, the primary. The primary is the easiest phrase construction. The metre is 6/6/4, and the phrasing are 2-bar phrases with AAB, ABB, and AB. 6/6/4 means the first line has 6 bars, the second line has 6 bars, and the third line has 4 bars. And one phrase are two bars. Therefore, AAB, twice A before because the first 2 bars and the second 2 bars are equal, and B is a little bit different. The next one is the secondary pibroch with metre 6/6/4 as well, and the phrasing A and B are 1-bar phrases, and the phrases C and D are 2-bar phrases. You have 4 phrases, A, B, C, D, C, B, A, D, and C, D. The next one is the tertiary A. The metre, you have 3 equal lines, for example 4, 4, 4 or 8, 8, 8. The first line is repeated, and the phrasing, there is no specific structure. The tertiary B, the metre, 3 equal lines as well. The first line is repeated as well, and the phrasing is one bar phrases with ABAC, DBDC, and DBAC. The supplementary A is the next one and has as metre 664. The phrasing are 2 bar phrases ABA, CBA, BA, or BD or DE. The supplementary B, the metre is 464. Phrasing are 2 bar phrases and with AB, CBA, AB or AD. And the last one is the irregular pibroch, and as the name tells us, there is no specific metre and no specific phrase structure. The third one you can categorize pibroch is according to the kind of variation. There are 2 different styles of pibroch. The first variation after the ground is the Dithys variation with long Temal notes, high G and E grace notes. The variation structure is, it starts with the ground. Then the Dithys variation, Dithys doubling. Doubling variations are a little bit faster and a little bit more equal than the singling variation. Tolo variations, Tolo doubling. Krunlo variation, Krunlo doubling, and Krunlo amach. Krunlo amach is a Krunlo variation, what is being played after, what is played after standard Krunlo variation, not after the Krunlo Fosgalce and not after the Krunlo Briebach. The next style of pibroch is Schual, with short Temal notes, high G and D grace notes, and the variations are the ground and the ground doubling, or thumb variation, or doubling and thumb variation. In the example of McCrimmon's Sweetheart, you have a ground doubling and a thumb variation. Normal variation and doubling, Schual variation and doubling, Tolur or tripling variation, tripling RGDEs, and a doubling, Krunlo Fosgalce and doubling, and the conclusion. The conclusion is 1 line of the ground, very expressive and slow. There are different types of Krunlur. You heard the names before, but I want to tell you the difference. First, we have the standard Krunlur. This is first a long theme note. After the theme note is not as long as the first theme note, but when I play it alone, then I do it. This is a standard Krunlur. And in the tempo of the tune. The next one is the Krunlo Fosgalce. You don't play the complete Krunlur, you just play the Idri from the second part of the Krunlur and some connecting notes before. And the style in the tune. And the next one, my favorite Krunlur variation, is the Krunlur Briebach. You have a standard Krunlur with connecting notes. And the style in the tune. And then the Krunlur Amach. The Krunlur Amach is just played on 3 theme notes, on B, on C, and on D. This is on B. On C, on D, and the style in the tune. These are the 4 different types of Krunlur. And I will tell you now a little bit about the expression of piebroch. Piebroch has pulses and phrases, no exact note values, but note values in accordance one to another, long and short. An example for McCrimmon's Sweetheart. This was the first line on the ground, and the difficulty is to learn piebroch with a music sheet. You need a teacher or you need a CD. You need anyone who play it for you, because in the music sheet you can't see if they're a long note or a short note. Some short notes I must hold a little bit longer because of the expression. And you can see piebroch like a pendula. It must swing a little bit, but not like a dancing. The expression have to swing. The theme, ground or ola, is played slowly and very expressive in every piebroch. The variations are played slightly quicker, one after another, and doubling variations are quicker than sibling variations. Piebroch tells stories, and the player attempts to tell the story with music. And the correct expression with long and short notes, slow transfer from one to the other variation. You need a little bit stretching after every variation to put in the next variation. Piebroch is a very tuneful music, and the sound of the pipes has to be perfect. Chanter to drones without disharmony. The example, what I have in my PowerPoint presentation, it's Sir James MacDonald of the Isles Lament. The story. Seamus MacDamhill, Eileen was the 9th chieftain and 2nd baronet of Sleep. He died in 1678. In his time, he was considered by island Gaels to be the inheritor of the Lordship of the Isles, a title forfeited in the late 15th century. Accordingly, he was known by Gaelic people as Na Eileen of the Isles. Sir James MacDonald of the Isles Lament is a lament. You hear it in the title. The structure. Sir James MacDonald of the Isles Lament has long theme notes in the first variation, but it has high G, D and E grace note, and is neither a this nor a sure. The metro is 6/6/4, and it is secondary piebroch with 1 and 2 bar phrases. The piebroch has a Kruner-Brübach variation. In my presentation, you find the music, the ground, the first variation, the Tolo variation, and the Kruner variation. There are no doublings. It is a short piebroch, just 7, 8, or perhaps 9 minutes. And I will play a little bit on the first line of the ground on my practice chanter again. you see the music sheet, you see that there is nothing, the playing is not like the written music. Yes, this is the end of my talk. I hope you enjoyed and thank you for your attention.